Rain slid down the back of my neck and under my collar, while I stood across from the old Riverside Hotel, staring through the blur on the windshield of my car. My wedding ring bit into my finger because I kept clenching and unclenching my fist. 6 Fridays. 6 lies. 6 nights of watching Lena say, "I'm working late," before she drove here like she belonged to this place more than she belonged to me. Come on. I whispered to myself, just let me be wrong once. I watched her step out of her car with an umbrella and that black coat I bought her last winter. She looked calm. She didn't look like a woman sneaking around. She looked like a woman keeping a schedule. Then another car pulled in. At first I only saw the driver's shoulders. Then he stepped into the light. My chest locked. No, I said, no, Caleb. My younger brother shut his car door and walked toward her like this wasn't insane. Like this wasn't evil. Like this wasn't the kind of thing that split a life in half. I got out of my car without feeling my legs. Rain hit my face hard enough to sting. I moved closer, staying in the dark by the broken stone fence. Lena touched Caleb's arm. He still remembers it wrong. Caleb rubbed his mouth, then let him. That hit harder than the cheating. Wrong about what? Let me what? I stepped closer. Lena lowered her voice. If he starts digging, he won't, Caleb said. He hates himself too much. I stopped breathing for a second. I heard my own name next. Noah is already unstable, Lena said. If he pushes, we push back. I walked straight into the light. What exactly am I unstable about? I asked. They both turned. Lena's face drained white. Caleb looked like he might throw up. But neither of them looked shocked enough. That was the worst part. Not guilt. Not panic. Recognition. Like they had been waiting for this. Caleb took one step toward me. Noah. Listen, don't. My voice cracked so hard it embarrassed me. Don't say my name like I still know who you are. Lena reached for me, please. Just get back in the car. I laughed. It sounded ugly. You think this is about the car? Caleb looked at Lena and that look made me feel sicker than the rain. There was history in it. Damage. Secrets. Then Lena's phone lit up in her hand. I saw my father's name on the screen. Above it sat an audio file, saved. My father's phone had been wiped the week he died. I knew because I signed the release papers. Myself. My hands went cold. Why do you have that? Lena closed her fingers around the phone. Lena, I said, and now my voice was shaking. Why do you have my father's voice? She stared at me like she wanted to lie and confess at the same time. Then she whispered, Noah, if you play that message now, everything you think you know will die. The year after my father died felt like living inside a house after a fire. The walls still stood, the roof still held, but every room smelled wrong. And every quiet sound made me flinch. I was angry all the time. I was tired all the time. I couldn't sit in restaurants because too much noise made my chest go tight. I couldn't sleep without waking up with my jaw locked. Then I met Lena. I still remember the first thing she said to me. You look like you want to leave. I was at a charity dinner I never wanted to attend. I had already planned my excuse. I do, I told her. Then stay 5 more minutes, she said. If it still feels terrible, I'll lie for you. I laughed for the first time in weeks. You lie for strangers? Only the sad-looking ones. She sat with me anyway. She didn't fill the silence just because silence existed. She asked small questions. She didn't look scared when I answered to honestly when my breathing turned rough because someone at the next table dropped a glass. She slid her hand under the table and held mine like she had done it before. Stay with me, she said softly. Don't fight the room, just stay with me. That became her gift when my mind got loud. She made it quieter when my grief turned mean. She didn't run. She learned where my father used to sit in our house, which songs made me shut down, which days I pretended to be okay, and which days I wasn't even close. Caleb liked her fast. Too fast, maybe. Finally, he said the first night I brought her home. Somebody who can actually handle you. I shoved his shoulder. I'm standing right here. Lena smiled. I like him. He grinned at her. See, great taste. Back. Then it felt easy. Caleb borrowed my jackets, stole my fries, talked too loud, and made Lena laugh like he had known her forever. I loved seeing them get along. I thought it meant I had found something solid. Months later, when I gave Lena my mother's silver ring, my hand shook more than hers. You're sure? She asked. I'm only scared because I'm sure. She let me slide it onto her finger, then kissed me so gently it almost hurt, but there were things I ignored. Lena asking about the inheritance papers, Caleb knowing details I never told him. The way conversation stopped when I entered a room to fast. The first Friday she lied. She came home smelling like rain and hotel soap. Where were you? I asked. At work, she said. I looked at her for a long second, then I kissed her anyway. Because trusting her felt easier than learning how to doubt her. After my crash, time stopped acting like time. Days folded into each other. Pills blurred the edges. Shame filled the empty spaces. People kept telling me what I had done. How lucky I was to be alive, how bad things could have been. And after a while I started repeating their version because it was easier than admitting. I couldn't remember enough to fight it. I remember the bedroom first, curtains half closed, water on the nightstand, Lena sitting beside me with a tablet in one hand and a smile that looked tired. And Holly, you need to rest, she would say. I've been resting for 3 days. You had a breakdown and a crash. Noah, I need my phone. You called people at 3 in the morning and scared them. Let me handle things until you're steady. Back then, I thought she sounded loving. Now, when I dragged those memories back into the light, I hear control hiding inside the softness. Victor Sloan came to the house twice a week. Gray suit, clean hands, calm voice. I'm not discussing business. I told him once, you aren't. He said, I'm protecting your interests by bringing paper into my bedroom, by helping your wife carry what you can't carry right now. Lena touched my cheek. Just sign, and I'll make this stop. The first few forms meant nothing to me. Insurance, temporary authority, medical access, property review. Everything was urgent. Everything was framed like kindness. Do you trust me? She asked. Yes, then sign. My hand shook so badly. I hated myself for it. Sometimes Caleb stood in the doorway. He never came all the way in. He looked guilty even when I didn't know why. You okay? I asked him once. He forced a laugh. You're asking me that? Come here. He didn't move. You should just listen to Lena. That should have scared me. It didn't, not then. What I buried was not only pain, it was a feeling, a thick, ugly feeling that the room kept changing every time I opened my eyes. And somehow everybody else already knew the next line in the script except me. Then one memory comes back sharper than the rest. Victor sliding a final document toward me. Lena, lowering her voice. This is the last one. I blinked at the page. What is it? A transfer? Victor said. Temporary. Internals. I looked for Caleb. He was in the doorway again, pale, sweating, staring at the floor. I signed. As Lena took the paper, Caleb whispered, so low I almost missed it. He'll never know which Friday it happened. I didn't understand it then. I do now. And the worst part is this. I may not have signed away money. I may have signed away the proof that my life was stolen while I was still inside it. Asterisk. I didn't go home and scream. I wanted to. Rip every framed photo off the wall and ask Lena which smile had been real. But rage had already cost me too much, so I did the one thing I should have done years ago. I shut up and started collecting facts. Mara met me at a diner off the highway at 8 in the morning. She took one look at me and slid coffee across the table. You look dead, she said. Thank you. You followed her? I nodded. Was it bad? It was Caleb. She didn't speak for 3 full seconds. Then she sat back and said, okay, so we're past bad. Mara had seen me at my lowest, rehab waiting rooms, panic attacks. Nights when I said things like, maybe everybody would breathe easier if I disappeared. She knew the difference between paranoia and pattern. You think it's more than cheating, she said. I know it is. Then we prove it. That led us to Teresa Alvarez, the caretaker at Lena's old apartment building. She was 60, sharp-eyed and deeply unimpressed by lies. You're the husband, she said when she opened the door. I was hoping you didn't know that. I notice everything. That's why I'm still employed. I showed her Lena's photo, then Caleb's. Teresa crossed her arms. Friday people, my stomach dropped. How long? More than a year. She looked at me with pity so plain. It burned. Sometimes the younger one came first. Sometimes your wife. Sometimes both. Sometimes your mother, my mother, and a lawyer-looking man, gray coat, expensive shoes. Mean mouth. Double quotes Victor. I felt my pulse in my throat. Did you ever hear what they talked about? Money, family, deadlines. Once I heard your name. Once I heard your wife say, keep him confused until closing. Mara and I walked out in silence. By evening, I got a message from a number I didn't know. You don't know me. My name is Iris Shaw. I used to work for Lena. If you're finally asking questions, stop wasting time and call me. I called at once. Iris didn't bother with warmth. Your wife moved money through shell accounts tied to old hotel property. Transfer started right after your crash. That's impossible. No, she said. What's impossible is how long they got away with it. My hand shook around the phone. It wasn't just the affair. I whispered. No, Iris said. The affair was just the part you were supposed to notice. A minute later, she sent me a scan page. My forged initial sat at the bottom, across the top. In block letters was a note. Phase 3, keep Noah unstable until probate closes. Asterisk. Before Lena. Before the ring, before the crash, there was just me. And Caleb trying to survive the same house in different ways. Our mother loved order more than tenderness. My father loved us, but love from a busy man can still arrive late. So I became useful. I learned how to be calm, clean, early, grateful. Caleb became everything I didn't have room to be. Loud, angry, sensitive, reckless. I was 10 when I started. walking him home from school. I was 12 when I took the blame for the lamp he broke. I was 15 when I punched a senior for calling him pathetic. You didn't have to do that, Caleb told me while I held ice to my split lip. Yeah, I said, I did. He watched me with those wide, wounded eyes he only got when he forgot how to hide. Why? Because you're my brother. That should have been enough. Sometimes it was. Sometimes it only made things worse. Our mother compared us like comparison was parenting. Look at Noah, she would say. Why can't you control yourself like Noah? Then, in the next breath, she would turn to me and say, you need to stop indulging him. I watched that settle into Caleb year after year like poison in clear water. He started hearing praise for me as proof of what he wasn't. Every prize I won felt like theft to him. Every quiet sacrifice I made embarrassed him more. My father saw it, I think. One night he sat beside me on the back steps and said, you can love your brother without carrying his whole future. I laughed. Can I? You're not his father. Some days it feels close enough, he sighed. That's what I'm afraid of. When Caleb was 16, I found him in the garage after another fight with our mother. He had blood on his knuckles and fury all over his face. She looks at me like I'm the bad copy. He said, you're not. That's easy for you to say. I stepped closer. Caleb, no, tell me the truth. He swallowed hard. If it ever came down to me or your future, would you really choose me? The question hit me harder than I expected. I answered fast, because that was the only answer I knew. Yes. He stared at me like I had just handed him something heavy and holy. Then he started crying. I hugged him while he shook, and I remember thinking that whatever was broken in this family, I would never let it take him from me. Now, every time I replay that moment, I wonder if that was the first promise he learned how to use against me. I met Iris in a parking garage that smelled like oil and wet concrete. She leaned against a pillar with a cigarette she never lit, and watched me like I was a bomb with legs. You look like you want to kill somebody, she said. I'm trying not to. Good. If you explode too early, they win. I folded my arms. Tell me everything. She shook her head. You're not ready for everything. Try me. Iris exhaled and looked away. Lena didn't begin this because she was sleeping with your brother. I said nothing. She began it because she was drowning. I hated how fast that made me listen. My mother, I asked. Partly. Victor too. Lena mishandled company funds trying to pay for her sister's treatment. Victor found out. Your mother offered a way out. Help them manage you after the crash. Help them move things quietly. Help them finish the hotel transfer before probate closed. I laughed once, sharp and joyless. Manage me, she told herself it was temporary, and then it got easy. I looked at her for a long second. No. Don't say it like that. Don't make this sound like whether. Iris stepped closer. I'm not defending her, I'm telling you how route works. It starts small, a lie, a paper, a pill, then people realize nobody stopped them. So they do worse. My brother, she nodded. Your brother was the weak point. Your mother knew it. Victor knew it. Lena learned it. Did she love me at all? Iris's face changed, not softer, sadder. I think she did. She said, just not enough. To lose power once she had it, that hurt more than if she had said no. And Caleb? He fell in love with her after the conspiracy started. That's when betrayal stopped being practical and became personal. I felt sick, so the affair wasn't the beginning, no. Iris reached into her bag and held out a flash drive. It was the point of no return. What's on it? A restored backup from Lena's cloud. My fingers trembled as I took it. Listen when you're alone, Iris said. I plugged it into my laptop that night. Static crackled. Then Caleb's voice filled the room, smaller and uglier than I remembered. He trusts us more when he's ashamed, he said. Lena answered too softly for me to catch. The recording ended. I called Iris right away. What am I missing for? A moment all I heard was her breathing. Then she said, Noah, your crash was not bad luck. Memory did not come back like a movie. It came back like glass, a sound first. Tires hissing on wet pavement, then the bitter chalk taste of pills on my tongue. Then my own hand gripping the wheel so hard my wrist hurt. I sat on my kitchen floor with my father's restored voicemail open on my phone. And all at once the night of the crash stopped being fog and started becoming a place. I had been driving to meet my father. That was the first truth. He had texted me just before 10. Don't tell anyone. Meet me at the hotel. Sale is a trap. You need the full file before midnight. I remembered standing in the bedroom, keys in hand, trying to leave. Lena had blocked the doorway in silk pajamas, worry all over her face. You're shaking again. She said, I'm fine. You're not. She held out 2 pills and a glass of water. Take these first. They'll calm you down. I can't be late. You'll be worse if you drive like this. I trusted her. That is the sentence that keeps cutting me open. I swallowed the pills. In the kitchen, Caleb was by the counter, too quiet, avoiding my eyes. You took my car earlier? I asked, yeah, just for gas. Why didn't you ask? He shrugged, didn't think you'd care. I should have cared. I remember that now. I remember something wrong in his face, fear, guilt. Maybe both. Then the road. Then the bridge. Then the brake pedal dropping to low under my foot. I hear myself saying, no, no, no. Headlights swing toward me. A horn screams. I jerk the wheel. Metal shrieks. The guardrail gives way like wet bones. When I woke up in the hospital, Lena was crying against my chest. Oh my God, she kept saying. You're alive, Noah, you're alive. I wrapped my arms around her. I let her hold me. I let her become the safe place after she helped build the fire. That truth almost made me throw up. With shaking hands, I pressed play on my father's deleted voicemail. His voice came through rough and urgent. Noah, if you get this late, listen carefully. The hotel sale is fake. I found transfers tied to your mother, Victor, and Caleb. Lena knows more than she should. If anything happens to me or to you, do not trust Lena, Caleb, or your mother with Friday. The message ended. I sat there in the dark, breathless, ruined, wide awake. All those Fridays, all those lies. All those years I spent blaming myself. Then my phone lit up with Lena's name. I stared at it ringing until it stopped. A second later, a text arrived. We need to talk before Caleb does something stupid. For years I begged for truth, begged for love, begged for some version of my life that made sense. Then something in me finally hardened in the right direction. I stopped begging. Jude sat across from me in the church basement after the support meeting ended, hands folded over a paper cup. You look calm, he said. I'm not calm, you look controlled. That's new, he nodded. Control keeps you alive. Rage makes you useful to the people who hurt you. I let that sit. Mara built the timeline with me at my dining table. Teresa gave a sworn statement. Iris printed transfer records until my living room looked like a war map. Every Friday meeting, every shell company, every forged signature, every phone record. Every lie. You could still walk away, Mara said once. No, why? Because if I disappear now, they keep my name. Jude helped me rehearse the only part that mattered. I would not swing, scream, threaten, or break. I would tell the truth and let it land. So I let Lena believe I knew less than I did. When she came home two nights before the gala, she stood in the bedroom doorway and watched me remove my watch. You've been distant, she said. I almost laughed. She stepped closer. Are you trying to punish me? I looked at her face, at the mouth I had kissed when I was grieving, at the eyes I once trusted more than my own. I'm tired, I said. That answer pleased her. Tired men were easier to control. The charity gala filled the restored hotel with donors, cameras, and expensive lies. I wore my wedding ring one last time because I wanted it on my hand. When I buried their version of me, my mother stood near the stage in silver. Victor worked the room. Caleb looked half dead. Lena touched my arm. Smile, she whispered. People are watching. Good, I said. When the speeches ended, I walked to the microphone before anyone could stop me. Murmurs spread through the room. My mother's face tightened first. She knew that look on me. She knew I had stopped being manageable. I only need 1 minute, I said. Lena hissed. Noah, don't. I pressed play. My father's voice rolled through the ballroom. Then I played Caleb's recording. He trusts us more when he's ashamed. Silence hit the room like a slammed door. Nobody moved. I looked at Lena. You should have let me stay broken. It would have been safer for you. My mother took a step forward. Turn that off. No. Victor started toward the exit. I held up the transfer file. Police are outside. Caleb suddenly grabbed the second microphone with both hands. He looked at Lena, not me. His voice shook. Tell him, he said. Tell him whose idea the crash really was. The room went so quiet I could hear the chandelier hum. Caleb kept gripping the microphone like it might save him. Lena stared at him with pure hatred. Not fear, not regret, hatred. That was when I understood she had already decided who would drown first if this night turned ugly. And it was never going to be her, Caleb, I said. And even then my voice came out raw. Look at me, he did. I had never seen him look younger and older at the same time. Say it right, I told him, not halfway. Not the version that lets you sleep. He started crying before he started talking. It was me. He said, not all of it, but enough. The meetings, the papers, the account transfers. I changed dates. I moved messages. I took your car. I told myself you would survive because you always survive. A sound broke out of me that did not feel human. He flinched but kept going. I hated you sometimes. I hated how everybody trusted you. How Dad chose you. How Mom compared me to you. How you kept saving me and making me feel smaller. Then Lena snapped. Don't say my name like I ruined you alone. He laughed through tears. You didn't ruin me alone. You just made it easier to become what I already was. People in the crowd started backing away. Cameras turned. My mother moved toward the stage with the cold, furious grace she used. Whenever shame threatened the family image, enough, she said. This ends now. I faced her. It ends because I say it ends. Victor tried to slip through a side door. But two officers stepped in. I watched his confidence fall apart. In one beautiful second, then Lena took the microphone from Caleb. Her eyes locked on mine. You want the truth? Fine. I loved you. No, I did. But loving you was like living beside a grave. Everything in our marriage bent around your grief, your guilt, your damage. I got tired of waiting for you to come back from the dead. I swallowed hard. So you buried me for real. She didn't deny it. My mother laughed once. Disgusted. Weakness. All of you. I turned to her. You built this. No, she said. I protected this family. At what cost? She looked around the ballroom at the cameras, the officers, the whispers. For the first time in my life, she had no answer that could win. I did not save Caleb. I did not shield Lena. I did not soften the truth for my mother or lie for Victor. That was my revenge, not blood, not fists, refusal. By dawn I stood at my father's grave with the ring in my palm. I loved them, I whispered. I know that doesn't excuse me. I know it almost killed me. The wind moved through the cemetery. Like a long breath, I set the ring on the stone. Then I walked away with empty hands, a ruined heart. And the only thing they could not keep. My future.